Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at throwing bowls. Indeed, one of my favorite forms to actually throw on the wheel. We will look at how to throw larger bowls, so stick with us towards the end of the video. There will be some larger forms thrown. Also, we'll look at the basics of how to start off in terms of throwing bowls off the hump to give you repetition and actually where to hold your hands and how to hold your hands when you're shaping and forming a bowl. Also stick around to the end because we'll also look at how to trim a foot on a bowl. Okay, let's check this out. Throwing off the hump. There is no better way to learn how to throw bowls than throwing them off the hump. Repetition, looking at how to hold your fingers or hands. Here I have my non-dominant hand, my left hand on the inside of the bowl, shaping. All my shaping happens with those fingers on the inside, but I have to really support what's going on the outside. Really concentrate as well on keeping that rim fairly thick, because as the bowl gets wider, that rim will get thinner. And as you flatten out a bowl, obviously your bowl becomes a little bit shorter in profile or lower in profile. And I use my dominant hand to hold the kidney. And in this case here, I'm just using the rubber kidney just to do the final shaping, and then use a nice bit of chamois just to smooth that rim. Keep that rim nice and robust. The good thing about throwing off the hump is you can do a lot of bowls in one sitting, and you'll cut one off and then you've got a whole lot of clay to use for the next one. And the amazing thing about it is you become really fast at it, like this guy. I think it's time to get a bit bigger, because when it comes to making bowls, sometimes, size does matter. I'm throwing this bowl on a bat. To see how to use bats, check out our video on the ultimate guide to throwing a round vase. Let's look at the opening up technique. First of all, using my thumbs, just directing where I'm going to open up. But here I'm using the heel of my hand. And I'll come back and I'm using the palms of my hands on the outside and my fingers on the inside, basically to claw the clay and shape the clay. But on the inside, notice that I'm creating that curve. So you want to create a nice curve, which is where you're going to follow the clay or bring the clay up initially into a more vertical shape. So here it's fairly vertical. It's got a slight curve to it, but on the inside, we've really got that curve action going because we want that bowl to have a nice, beautiful curve. And note that it's my fingers that are doing most of that action. And as I get to what I call maximum height for the bowl, I'm going to put more pressure with my fingers on the inside to bring out that curve. And as we do that, as I mentioned with the off the hump pots, the bowl will get a little bit shorter. Make sure that you've got a nice thick rim, and that angle tool is really handy to clean any excess clay off the base, just so that you've got a good view of what's going on. And then it's time for a little bit of action with the kidney. In this case, it's a nice bright yellow kidney, beautiful to use. And I'm putting pressure with the kidney onto the base of the bat or the wheel head. And then when I go up the sides of the walls, I'm using my finger on the outside to support what's going on the inside. And same too, by creating that nice flared rim, I've got my fingers on the outside supporting, this time, the metal kidney. The great thing about using these bats is you just have to put a little mark down the bottom and you can pop them off, and no need to cut them off with a wire, because as the bat dries, it'll dry with the pot and the pot will come off and you'll be ready to trim it. Let's go a bit bigger here. Now, size of the amount of clay here is around about 6.5 kilos. So you're gonna have to probably, well, put your shoulder into it and really make some funny actions or funny faces with your face, and open up initially with your thumbs like we did before. And I've also got a little bit of claw action to start off the sequence. Technique's changed a little bit from the last bowl that I threw, but here I'm opening up with my fingers to around about a third of the bowl and then back into that heel action. Notice the hand on the outside is really supporting what's going on the inside, and then back to that claw grip technique. Really supporting the outside portion of the pot, and even using your thumb down the bottom. You can see the thumb down there, that's putting a bit of pressure to make sure that it doesn't go out of shape. Really important to have a bit of strength to you when you're doing something like this. It's about 6.5 kilos, so it requires a bit of strength and muscle. But it's a matter of just slowly progressing and taking your time with it and building up the form. So we're not trying to hunt for a bowl straight up. What we're doing is we're really making more of a vertical form, but what we've done initially is create that nice curve on the inside, trying to maintain a bit of control at the rim area and bringing some of that clay up the vessel. On the inside, we've got a curved form rather than if we were making a cylindrical form or a vase, we'd have more of a flat form. And as the vessel gets bigger, we're going to slow down the speed with the pedal a little bit as well, okay? Making sure that we've got enough clay to play with, okay? So don't bring all the clay up and make those walls too thin, because you won't be able to bring the form out. So pressure with the fingers on the outside, on the inside, I should say, increases as the bowl gets bigger, but working together, slow down the wheel a bit, really compress that rim. Make sure that that rim stays in control, and have your fingers in a curved shape on the inside. And this is probably the more therapeutic side of throwing a bowl, where you're just shaping it, you've eased the speed back, you've got to your maximum height, and you're just going a little bit wider. This is actually a point of time where you begin to think of the value of potters in our society and our community. You know, potters actually are of great economic benefit, not only because of the things they make and sell, but also, you know, think about the moisturizer we buy. You know, we've got very dry hands, constantly having to buy moisturizer, putting a bit of more money into those companies that sell that sort of stuff. Also, think about, you know, I've been doing this for about 30 plus years, so, you know, I've got to go and see a physio every now and then. So I'll help the physio community. Potters are actually what I actually call the backbone of our society. I've got the moisturizer on and I am ready to trim. Before I trim the bowl, I look at the inside curve that I have of the bowl, and I put a little mark on the base, and that's where I'm going to trim to initially on the outside. So that's going to be the beginning or the outer ring of my foot ring, and I'm going to trim the excess clay on the side, so from the side of the bowl. And notice I've got one hand, my left hand, placed on the base of the bowl, and my right hand is connected to the trimming tool, as well as the thumb on the left hand side. Those fingers on the base give you a sense of control that the bowl's going to stay on the Giffen grip, and I do use a Giffen grip to trim my pieces. Once I've trimmed the outside, I'm going to put a little mark around about 1 centimetre, maybe just a bit more than 1 centimetre from the base, and then I'm going to trim to that little edge that I've created and get rid of some of that excess clay, and that's going to form the beginnings of my outer foot ring. And from there I'm going to do the base, and I'm going to give myself a mark around about, once again, about a bit more than 1 centimetre. And I've slowed it down here just to show you how important it is to make sure that your two hands are locked together. So here I've placed a trimming tool, it's caught a bit of clay and it's done a bit of a kick, but fortunately I've got both hands connected, locked in, and managed to retrieve the situation and continue and actually trim out that little area that was causing that problem. So really important when you trim, you've got both hands working together, and speed-wise, very important to go very fast, especially when you've initially started your trimming. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed our video, please give us a like and subscribe. It really does help. And if you would like to see more of our videos, check this one out over here. And if you like what you see around here in the background, check out our website, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you.